My high school bully made my life hell for years, and now he has to smile and ask, "What can I get started for you?" while wearing a name tag and handing me my fries every Friday. The crazy part is, I didn't plan it that way at first, but once I realized who was behind that counter, I knew exactly how karma was going to be served. The almost perfect life. Back in high school, if you looked at my life from the outside, you'd probably say it was boring but pretty normal. I wasn't popular, but I wasn't a total outcast either. Just that quiet kid who got decent grades, played some video games, and tried really hard not to stand out. My parents were strict but supportive, the type who cared more about report cards than homecoming games. I was on the honor roll, and my biggest dream back then was getting out of my small town and into a decent college so I could finally breathe. I had a small circle of friends, 2 guys from band and 1 girl from my chemistry class, and we bonded over the fact that we didn't fit into any real high school category. We weren't athletes, we weren't theater kids, we weren't rich, and we definitely weren't on anyone's most likely to list. If my life had a weak spot, it was the social part. I was shy, awkward, and a little bit chubby, which in high school is like walking around with a target drawn on your back. But for a while, nobody really went out of their way to make my life miserable. They just kind of ignored me. That changed the day Tyler noticed I existed. Tyler was the kind of guy every teacher pretended not to hate because his dad was on the school board and sponsored half the sports equipment. Star running back, permanent smirk, perfect hair, and that stupid confident walk like the hallways were built for him personally. The first time he spoke to me, I actually thought he was being nice. I was standing by my locker, arms full of books, and he walked up with 2 of his buddies behind him, grinning. "Hey man," he said, leaning on the lockers like he was in some teen movie. "You're in my math class, right?" I nodded, caught off guard. "You're pretty good at it, aren't you? You always finish early." I shrugged. "I guess." He clapped me on the shoulder, a little too hard. "Cool, maybe you can help me out sometime." For about 10 seconds, I thought, okay, maybe he's actually decent. Then, as he walked away, I heard him say, just loud enough for everyone to hear, "Dude, I didn't know we had a human calculator, or do they just feed it numbers instead of food?" His friends laughed, and one of them made an ointing noise. That was the crack in my almost perfect average life. The moment I realized I had just landed on Tyler's radar, and that was very bad news. Cracks in school life. At first, it was small stuff. They'd bump into me by accident in the hallway, knock my books out of my hands, or sit behind me in class and whisper stupid comments just loud enough to distract me. "Careful, dude, he's gonna eat the homework if you leave it on the desk." "Hey, what's the calorie count on that pencil?" I tried to laugh it off, pretend it didn't bother me. The adults always say, ignore bullies and they'll get bored. But that's not how it works when someone like Tyler decides you're his new favorite joke. Ignoring just made him more creative. One time at lunch, I sat down with my usual group and opened my tray. I'd brought leftovers from home, pasta my mom made, and I actually felt kind of good about it because it smelled way better than the mystery meat the cafeteria was serving. Tyler walked past, looked down, and said, "Damn, you pack enough for 2 people?" His buddy added, "More like 3. Then, before I could react, Tyler scooped his hand straight into my food, grabbed a fistful, and dropped it on the floor. "Oh no," he said, fake gasping. "Gravity attacked your lunch. Guess that's the universe putting you on a diet." Everyone at the table went quiet. My face burned, my hands shook, and for a second, I thought I might cry right there in front of everyone. Instead, I stood up, picked up the tray, and walked it over to the trash. My legs felt heavy, like I was walking through mud. Behind me, I heard the laughter. After that, it escalated. He started calling me Friday Special, because for some reason he'd seen me in line for the Friday pizza more than once and decided that was hilarious. "Yo, Friday Special, what's on the menu today?" Sometimes he'd accidentally spill his drink near my backpack so my notebooks got soaked. Other times he'd slide into the seat behind me in class and toss balled up paper at the back of my head. teachers didn't see or pretended not to. At home, my parents could tell something was off. I stopped volunteering information about school, started eating dinner faster so I could retreat to my room. "Everything okay?" my mom asked one night. "Yeah, just tired," I lied. I didn't want to be that kid whose parents marched into the principal's office. You know how it goes. Tell an adult, and by the end of the day, the whole school knows, and somehow it's your fault for snitching. The crazy part is, I actually started believing some of it. I'd stand in front of the mirror and pull at my shirt, seeing every flaw under fluorescent bathroom light. I signed up for PE extra credit so people would stop calling me lazy. But no matter what I did, Tyler kept pushing. Discovery, the final straw. The moment everything snapped wasn't some Hollywood-style explosion. It was more like one of those slow burns that suddenly hits a breaking point. It was junior year, right before midterms. I'd been tutoring some classmates after school for a little extra cash. $10 an hour, nothing wild, but it helped me save for a laptop. One day, Tyler cornered me in the hallway. "Yo, Friday special," he called out. "Heard you're doing little nerd sessions after school." I kept walking. "They're called study sessions, but okay." He stepped in front of me, blocking my path. "So I've got a different kind of deal for you. You help me on the midterm, and maybe I stop making your life so entertaining." My stomach twisted. "You mean cheat?" He smiled, slow and smug. "Such an ugly word. I'm just asking you to make sure the answer sheet lines up with mine." I shook my head. "I'm not doing that." His eyes narrowed. "You sure? 'Cause accidents happen. People trip. Stuff gets lost in the locker room. You wouldn't want that laptop you're saving for to get, smashed." I walked away without answering, but my hands were shaking. I'd never felt that kind of cornered before. The next day, it got worse. I opened my locker and found my notebook ripped apart, pages shredded and crumpled on the floor. On the inside of the locker door, someone had scrawled in black marker, "Fatty Friday Special, tutor this." The handwriting was messy, but the style was painfully familiar. Tyler's overconfident all-caps garbage. I stood there staring at it while people walked by, pretending not to see. That was the moment I stopped feeling scared and started feeling something else. Tired. Tired of being the joke, the easy target, the one who just swallowed it and moved on. That afternoon, instead of going straight home, I went to the counselor's office. I didn't tell on him exactly, not yet. Instead, I asked about scholarships, early college programs, anything that would let me get out of this town faster. The counselor, Mrs. Allen, looked surprised. "You're thinking ahead, that's good. Your grades are strong. Have you considered applying to state's early admission program?" We talked about requirements, volunteer hours, recommendation letters. The whole time, Tyler's words were echoing in my head, but something else was forming there too, a plan. I realized that I couldn't control what he did at school, but I could control what I did next. And if I played this right, one day high school would just be a chapter in my life, while for him, it might end up being the peak. I didn't know it then, but that thought would become really important later. The actual proof moment came a few weeks before graduation. By then, I'd completely refused to help him cheat, and you can guess how well that went over. The bullying turned into open hostility. He'd shoulder check me harder in the halls, mutter stuff like, "You're gonna regret this," under his breath. One Friday, I was walking past the gym when I heard my name. "Dude, look, it's Friday special," someone laughed. Get a pic." I stopped just outside the doorway and peeked in. Tyler and his friends were in the bleachers, scrolling through their phones. On Tyler's screen, I saw it. My face mid-bite in the cafeteria, taken from some awful angle. I looked like I was inhaling my food. Underneath, there was a caption, "Guess who's carbo loading for the rest of his life?" They were in a private group chat picking apart everything about me, my clothes, my hair, the way I walked. My stomach dropped, but something in me also went cold. Because when his friend turned his phone, I saw the name of the chat at the top, Friday Special Fan Club, created by Tyler. I took out my phone, zoomed in from where I was standing, and snapped a photo of his screen. It was a little blurry, but you could clearly see the group name, my picture, and his username right under one of the comments. That photo was my first real piece of evidence. The confrontation and graduation. Graduation season was like living in two worlds at once. On one hand, everyone was excited. Prom, senior ditch day, college decisions. On the other, I was counting down the days until I never had to see Tyler again. I'd gotten into state with a partial scholarship. When the acceptance letter came, my mom cried. My dad patted my shoulder and said he was proud. And for the first time in a long time, I actually believed my life might turn out okay. Tyler, of course, was still coasting on being the golden boy. Rumor was he had some kind of sports scholarship lined up, but his grades were barely hanging on. One afternoon after school, I found a note stuffed in my locker. "We need to talk. Today. 4 p.m. Bleachers. Come alone. T." If this had been a year earlier, I probably would have just ignored it and gone home. But now, I was strangely calm. I showed up. Tyler was already there, pacing. When he saw me, he smirked, but his eyes looked stressed. "Look who decided to show up," he said. I crossed my arms. "You asked me to." He shoved his hands into his pockets. "So here's the deal. Coach says I'm on thin ice. Apparently, some teachers have been concerned about my grades." I stayed quiet. He took a step closer. "You're gonna help me fix it. You're good at math, English, whatever. Write a couple of assignments for me, maybe slip me a copy of the final review. In return, I'll leave you alone for the rest of the year." I actually laughed. "The rest of the year? Dude, it's May." His jaw tensed. "Don't be smart with me. You owe me." That word set me off. "Owe you?" I repeated. "For what? Having my lunch thrown on the floor? Getting shoved into lockers? Being turned into your little meme project?" His face shut down, like a door slamming. "Relax, we were just messing around. It's high school. You think anyone's gonna care about this in 10 years? I pulled my phone out. "Funny you mention that." I opened the photo of his group chat, the one with my face and his comments. Then I held it up so he could see. Tyler's smugness flickered for the first time. "Where'd you get that?" "You made a whole group chat about me," I said quietly, "called Friday Special Fan Club. You posted pictures of me without my consent, mocked me, encouraged your friends to do the same. You think that's gonna age well if a college or future employer sees it?" He took a step forward, lowering his voice. "Delete that, now." I met his eyes. No. For a second, I thought he might actually hit me. His fists clenched, his jaw twitched, his breathing got heavier. Then he looked away, muttered something, and stormed off. I didn't tell the principal. I didn't go nuclear. Honestly, I just wanted to be done. But that moment mattered because, for once, he wasn't fully in control. Graduation came and went. He walked across the stage to loud cheers. I walked across to polite applause. We didn't look at each other. After the ceremony, while everyone took pictures, I watched him from a distance. He was surrounded by people, laughing, posing for photos in his cap and gown like he owned the future. I remember thinking, enjoy it. This is probably the last time life is truly easy for you. Then I turned away and focused on my own future. Planning the perfect karma. A few years passed. College was exactly what I needed. New city, new people, no one who knew Friday Special or that stupid group chat. I lost some weight, gained some confidence, and poured myself into my studies and part-time jobs. I majored in computer science and picked up shifts at a tech help desk and later at a local office doing basic IT work. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills and put some cash into savings. I only heard about Tyler in fragments. Someone from high school posted on Instagram about how crazy it was that he'd blown his first year of college on partying and lost his sports scholarship. Another mutual acquaintance mentioned he was back in town for a while and working some job while he figured things out. I didn't stalk him, didn't obsess over it. Life was busy, and honestly, I didn't want to waste my future thinking about someone who barely deserved space in my past. Then, a couple years after I graduated college, I moved back closer to home for a better job opportunity. Not to my exact hometown, but about 40 minutes away. Just far enough that I didn't have to bump into people from high school at the grocery store. Or so I thought. Every Friday after work, a few coworkers and I had a tradition. We'd hit the same fast food place off the highway, grab burgers, fries, and milkshakes, and decompress from the week. It wasn't the healthiest habit, but it was our thing. Cheap, greasy food and stupid conversations about office drama and TV shows. One Friday, we pulled into the usual spot. The restaurant was a little busier than normal, with a line curling around the cordoned-off area. We shuffled forward, talking about some annoying email chain everyone had been stuck on all week. I wasn't paying attention to the staff, just scanning the menu board even though I already knew what I was going to order. Then I heard a voice. "Welcome to Burger Barn. What can I get started for you?" My brain recognized it before my eyes did. That slightly cocky tone flattened now into something forced. I looked up, and there he was. Tyler. No Letterman jacket, no team surrounding him, just a faded red visor, a name tag that said Ty, and a polo shirt with grease stains near the collar. For a second, my brain short-circuited. I literally felt like the room tilted. He didn't recognize me, at least not immediately. He was in autopilot mode, fake customer service smile on, eyes a little dull like he'd repeated the same script 1,000 times that day. "Welcome to Burger Barn. What can I get started for you?" he repeated. I just stared at him. My coworker nudged me. "Dude, you good?" That's when I realized what was happening. The guy who made my life hell in high school was now standing behind a counter, asking me for my order. I felt this weird mix of emotions. Shock, anger, satisfaction, and something almost like pity. I could have just ordered and moved on. That could have been the whole story. Karma quietly doing its thing. But then I remembered the lunch on the floor, the messages, the Friday special fan club, and the way he'd told me nobody would care in 10 years. And something inside me clicked. This wasn't just a coincidence. This was an opportunity. Revenge execution every single Friday. The first Friday, I kept it simple. I said my usual order, my voice steady. "Yeah, can I get a double cheeseburger, no pickles, large fries, and a chocolate shake?" He punched it into the register without looking up. "Anything else?" I paused. "Actually," he glanced, and that's when I saw it, the flicker of recognition. His eyes narrowed, his fake smile faltered. "Actually, no, that's it," I finished. He stared for half a second longer than normal, then forced the smile back on. "Your total is $10.87. I paid, stepped aside, and waited. My heart was pounding like I'd just run a race. When my order came up, he avoided eye contact as he slid the tray toward me. "Have a nice day," he said, voice flat. "Thanks, Tyler." He froze. I walked away. All weekend, that moment replayed in my head, the way his eyes widened when he realized I knew exactly who he was, and that I remembered. I went back the next Friday, and the next, and the one after that. Look, it sounds petty, but hear me out. I wasn't stalking him. I already liked that place, and Fridays were our routine long before I knew he worked there. But knowing he'd be there, having to serve me, the kid he used to humiliate over food, that added a layer of poetic justice I couldn't ignore. Over the next few weeks, I settled into a new rhythm. Every Friday, I'd walk in, stand in his line, even if another one was shorter, and when it was my turn, I'd give my order, nice and clear. "Can I get the Friday special?" I'd say once, deliberately using his old nickname for me. He flinched, but he had no choice except to keep taking my order. The next week, I pushed a little further. I walked up to the counter and said, "Hey, Tyler, how's it going?" He didn't answer, just punched in my order. "You know," I added casually, "it's crazy how life works. You used to make a lot of comments about my eating habits, huh?" His hands stilled for a second on the register. "Look," he said under his breath, "I was a dumb kid, okay? Can you just let it go?" I leaned on the counter slightly. "You ever apologize to me?" He blinked. "What?" Did you ever walk up to me and say, "Hey man, I'm sorry for making a whole group chat dedicated to trashing you, for ruining your lunch, for making school a nightmare?" His face went pale. "I didn't think you cared that much," he muttered. I laughed, but there wasn't much humor in it. "Yeah, that's kind of the point, isn't it?" Someone behind me coughed and the moment broke. He went back into robot mode. "Your total is $11.32. I paid, took my receipt and stepped aside. But inside, something significant had shifted. It wasn't about making him cry or quit his job. It was about making him see me, not as a punchline, but as a human being he actually hurt. Weeks turned into months. Every Friday I showed up, sometimes with coworkers, sometimes alone. I'd sit where he could see me from behind the counter, eating my food calmly, laughing with friends, living my life. He'd glance over from time to time, that tightness in his jaw never fully going away. Then, one Friday, it finally happened. I walked in, same time as usual. The line was short, he was at the register. "Welcome to Burger Barn, what can I get?" He started, then stopped. He looked tired, not just physically, but like someone who'd been carrying something heavy for a long time. "Can we talk?" he asked quietly. I raised an eyebrow. "We're talking." "Not here, after my shift, out back." I thought about it for a second, then nodded. "Fine." After I ate, I waited in my car. About 20 minutes later, he came out the side door in his hoodie, visor off, hair messy. He walked over, hands in his pockets. "Thanks for not dipping." I crossed my arms. "What do you want, Tyler?" He sighed, looked at the ground. "Look, I know I was an ass in high school." "That's putting it mildly," I said. He winced. "Yeah, I thought it was funny back then. I thought it made me look cool. Nobody ever told me to chill. Teachers didn't say anything. My friends egged me on. I was stupid." "You were cruel," I corrected. He nodded slowly. "Yeah, that too." There was a long silence. "I see you every Friday," he said. "You've got work clothes on, you come in with those people from your office. You look put together, like you're doing something with your life." I didn't say anything. He gestured back at the building. This isn't where I thought I'd be. I blew my scholarship. I messed around. I made bad choices. Now I'm back here trying to pay rent." His voice cracked a little. "I keep thinking about that group chat, about how if that had gone public, or if you'd sent it to someone important, I could have been screwed way earlier, and I honestly don't know why you didn't." I stared at him. "Do you want me to tell you why?" He looked up, eyes wary. "Because," I said slowly, "I didn't want my whole life to revolve around getting even with you. I wanted to move on. I wanted to build something for myself. You weren't worth burning my future over." He swallowed. "But seeing you behind that counter every Friday," I continued, "that's not me ruining your life. That's just me witnessing the life you built, or didn't build." His shoulders slumped. "I'm sorry," he said finally, "for everything. For the group chat, the comments, the lunch, all of it. I was a jerk. I was worse than a jerk." Hearing those words out loud did something I didn't expect. I felt lighter. For years I'd imagined what it would be like if he ever admitted he was wrong, but the fantasy always ended with some big dramatic breakdown. Real life is quieter. "Okay," I said. He blinked. "Okay?" "I hear you. I'm not going to pretend it didn't mess me up. It did. But you apologizing, that matters. I won't use the photo. I won't drag your name through the mud. I never wanted to be you." He nodded, eyes glossy. "Thank you." I looked at him. "But I'm not going to stop coming here. Friday's my thing. You're just going to have to live with seeing me doing fine." A half laugh escaped him. "Yeah, I guess I deserve that." We stood there for another moment. Then I said, "Take care of yourself, Tyler. Try not to waste the next chance life gives you." I walked back to my car, feeling strangely calm. The following Friday I went back as usual. He was at the register. He looked at me, and this time there wasn't anger in his eyes, just something like acceptance. "Hey," he said. "Good to see you." "You too," I replied. "Can I get the usual?" He smiled, small but real. "You got it." He rang it up like always, handed me my receipt and said, "Have a nice Friday." And that was that. He still takes my order almost every week. Aftermath and lessons. These days, my life is good. I've got a stable job, a small apartment that actually feels like mine, a couple of close friends who know the whole story and don't see me as the guy who got bullied, but just as me. I even started going to the gym, not because of what anyone said about my body, but because it helps clear my head after long days. Every now and then, when I'm holding that tray with my burger and fries, I think about how different things could have been. If I'd let bitterness run my life, maybe I would have blasted that group chat all over social media, tried to destroy Tyler's reputation the first chance I got. Maybe I would have turned into someone who lives for revenge instead of for myself. But that's not what happened. Instead, karma did its thing in its own quiet way. The guy who used to mock me over food now serves it to me and has to look me in the eye, knowing I made it out and he's still figuring it out. Do I feel bad for him? Sometimes, yeah. Life is complicated, people are complicated. But do I think he deserved to face the consequences of who he was? Absolutely. The biggest thing I learned is this: you can control who hurts you, but you can control how you grow from it. And sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying someone, it's living well enough that they have to watch you do it. So now, every Friday, I walk into that fast food place, order my food, and sit by the window. Tyler calls out orders, wipes down counters, and occasionally glances over. We're not friends, but we're not enemies either. We're just two people whose paths crossed in a really messed up way, and then crossed again when the power dynamic had completely flipped. And in those moments when he says, "Have a nice day," and I say, "You too," I feel this strange mix of closure and satisfaction. Because the kid who was once the Friday special, now I'm the one choosing where I sit, how I live, and who I let matter. To be honest, I don't regret any of the choices I made after high school. Not walking away, not holding on to evidence quietly, and not showing up every Friday to let karma do its slow, steady work. It taught me patience, self-respect, and the difference between petty payback and real justice. What would you have done in my place? Gone nuclear with that group chat? Or let life catch up to him like I did? Do you think he deserved that level of karma, or was it too soft considering what he put me through? If you've ever had a bully or someone who made your life miserable, and karma showed up in a surprising way, your story deserves to be heard. Drop your story in the comments because your letter to karma might be the next one we read on Karma's letterbox.